Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Greenleaf Season 5, Episode 3 reaction. There's obviously a lot to talk through here. I think we get an answer on AJ, but it's weird because they gave us information, but they didn't give us all the information. I feel like we got a book that they sort of like cut out the final few chapters on, and they were just like, here you go, enjoy.
Time to tune in next time to find out a little more.
Hopefully there'll be some good stuff in the promo, and we'll talk through some of that in a preview. But we're going to go through everything that happened in Episode 3. AJ, we have the craziness with the will. Does Charity really have a plan? She says she has a plan, so should we believe her?
Yeah, or is it like a charity plan for charity, where she's kind of like, yeah, I got a plan, but it's for me.
Hey, charity begins at home. Well, anyway, if you guys like this video, give us a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We got a lot of Greenleaf stuff coming all season long.
Well, okay, spoilers ahead, obviously, for anyone who hasn't seen what's going on yet, but we're going to start with the AJ of it all, because it was a pretty big reveal. I mean, there's some of you guys that had been talking about this in the comments as a possibility that it was going to be coming up. And I kind of thought maybe from that last episode, we had the doctor asking Grace if she had been cut. And that was kind of strange. And asking if Sophia was his girlfriend. Like, there were some questions there that were kind of leading a few of us to believe that maybe AJ was infected. And so it turns out that yes, he was assaulted in prison, he's been infected, and this is something that is clearly weighing on him. But is this the reason that he actually tried to kill himself? And I still feel that there is more to it than that. And my theory goes back to the guy at the graveyard. And I went back and actually watched that scene again with Grace and the mystery man at the graveyard now that I've gotten this information from AJ. And some of the things that he was saying, it feels like he had to have known that information. Now, I know a lot of us, including me, thought that maybe he was the real AJ, and maybe that's still there. But another theory that I'm kind of feeling out now is that maybe he's the person that assaulted AJ. We saw AJ saw that photo of him and had just like he had seen a ghost. And this guy knew a lot of information. He knew about Faith, he knew about Grace. It's possible that AJ gave that information in prison and he now has that information. He came looking for him. I don't know.
I think there's a lot to unpack here. I think just to start things off, I know contracting what ultimately AJ has, it can be a very devastating and difficult thing because it completely alters your life, the way in which you have to treat yourself a lot of the time, and there are significant setbacks that come along with it. Now, with that being said, it doesn't seem as though this is something that AJ has suddenly just learned. So it feels like this is something he's been living with. So with that in mind, why commit this act against himself now? That's where we get back to what you were just saying with the mystery man at the end of last season. Because by all intents and purposes, a part of AJ's life right now should be better. He is in communication now with his biological mother, who is a part of a family. And yes, we already know all about Bishop Greenleaf's tax issues, but still, you know, the Greenleaf, they've got some money. Like, they have resources, they have things that they can use. With that in mind, this should be a safer environment for him, but there's something that is causing him to want to retreat from it and get away from all of it to the point where he's willing to say to Sophia, even at the hospital, okay, I got to get out of here. And I think it has to be connected to this guy. I feel pretty strongly that this mystery man may have been the person responsible for what happened to him. And the question is, it's difficult to sort of understand the relationship the two of them have without any backstory, right? And while it might seem on the surface that AJ would find a sense of relief from knowing that this guy is dead, if in fact he's responsible for it, we're not in AJ's shoes. We don't know what AJ is going through. We don't know what emotional impact that has on him, and that may be an emotional trigger.
Yeah, and I mean, just seeing that picture it may not actually even be about him being dead. It just might be seeing that picture and the look, the look on AJ's face. I mean, there was something heavy that was happening. It just may have washed everything back, that maybe he thought he was moving forward and now it's all coming back to him again. I will say, for me, the scene that really stole the show for me was him bringing in his sister and talking to Sophia, because the two of them, for such young people, have gone through stuff that many people in their whole lifetimes don't ever go through, and both of them are so young to have gone through it. It was really powerful seeing these two young people sort of just talking about that stuff and being able to bond over these things that have happened to them on top of being family. I wasn't surprised that was the person that he reached out to, but I was really happy that she was the person he reached out to.
Let's be honest here. This is what I think we want Sophia to be doing on Greenleaf at the moment. Like, these are the stories I'm excited for with her. I'm not excited for let's have the fight, if you want to call it that, earlier in the episode. It's just, I just felt like, okay, this is too much of a teen drama that we've seen so many times before.
Yeah, and Sophia has been through so much that these are the types of things that can mature somebody a little bit faster, because you kind of just have to. And with everything that's going on with AJ as well, I can leave all this fighting over a guy and fighting over the pictures and all this stuff. That can be that. I'm done with that.
Yes, I think
I really like this stuff that's going on with Sophia and AJ. Give me all of that.
Yeah, this to me is compelling. It's interesting. I do hope that we have some sort of a finish line with it before the series finale, because I don't know, I like to think of series finales as like taking you full circle across all of the show, and AJ's been kind of a recent addition to the show. He's really only been prominent the past couple of seasons, so I would like the focus for Grace to be a little bit beyond AJ by the end of it, but I understand why we are where we are right now.
I don't want AJ to just take off. Now that he has said what he said, and he, said, I don't want to talk about it again. Okay, now it's out there. Now, do you still have a reason that you have to leave? Because I would like to see this win for him and just have him be brought into the family. And I know, yes, the Greenleafs, of course, have problems, but there is still love there, and I would really like to see that. So that's where I want to go with that.
Can we just talk for a minute here about you getting rid of DARIUS? Like, why are you firing DARIUS? Because we have already established that DARIUS is the most efficient journalist of all time. And whatever sort of, blood money that Bob and Harmony and Hope out, you must be, really backing up the Brinks truck and just, dumping out money. You don't get rid of DARIUS. If you were not a fictional character, DARIUS, we've got some work we might want to hand over to you.
You are all in on DARIUS.
DARIUS is so good at his job. He's just
is.
bam, he gets results. He scares people. He scared Bob enough that Bob is dump all this money at this publication's door.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what DARIUS is going to end up coming back with. And there was that kiss, which was a little bit awkward on Grace's part. You kind of saw her face where she was a little bit taken aback. Everything, of course, is getting super weird with Noah. And, her mom pushing and pushing and pushing. And it was good to have that conversation afterwards with Bishop, where Grace was kind of like, I'm not going to marry him. And Bishop was like, nobody's telling you have to. yes, nobody's telling you have to. But he's right. You are family. You guys have a son together. You guys need to pull it together. You don't have to be together to make that happen. And I think maybe Grace just needed to hear that from somebody, that it doesn't have to be that they're together. And I like that. I love Bishop.
Look at Bishop being so progressive in this episode. Bishop has a real journey in this episode, because he'll have these moments in this where oh, look at you. You're being so kind and sweet. Then at another point I'm not going to the doctor. I'm as fit as a... He's totally the guy who is sick or has a leg injury, and then proceeds to like go and hike a mountain to prove it. He's done the would you buy a Bishop Greenleaf workout video where he's like instructing you whatever it was that he was doing.
Swinging his leg around while he was talking to Jacob was too much for me. I was watching that scene. I'm just like, I don't know how these actors aren't laughing through such a serious scene with him swinging his leg up and down.
Keith David, and we already know that Keith David, I have seen you on Community. I know you can be a comedic national treasure so here, great. But yeah, it was an odd episode for Bishop. It was an enjoyable episode, provided, of course, nothing serious happens to him medically, which I'm still incredibly worried about.
Yeah, so we got to talk about the Jacob of Phil because he's got two big storylines going on this season. Now we've got what's going on with Tasha, and there are a lot of people out there that are really enjoying that relationship between Tasha and Jacob, and it looks like maybe something. That moment with the two of them in the car where he admitted, I'm getting divorced, and she was like, oh, all right then, and he was like, no, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna wait until I'm divorced. Then we'll start hanging out and see where it goes. And just to see that smile on her face, I had the same smile. I was like, Jacob, finally, you were doing things the right way. This is the right way to go about it. You have been on a journey, because when we first met you, you were stepping out on Carissa all the time, and you were basically in another relationship while you were married. And now you're here, and it has been really a journey with him to see him to get to being this man that he is now. I like it. It was good.
I like this part of Jacob. It's sort of like with a lot of other characters on this show, though, that are very self-destructive. I have a deep pit in my stomach as to whether or not it's going to last, but if it does, I will take Jacob and Tasha at this point. Give me them over Jacob and Carissa any day of the week, the month, the year.
Yeah, I'm over that. And I mean, I think we're all kind of over that. But the moment that Jacob, where she was again like flying this will in his face, he was like, tell everybody, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. You have at it, Carissa. I was like, yes!
This is war!
It's all happening now. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Because the reality is, if she pulls out this blackmail, and if it does turn out that Bishop goes to jail and they all lose the house and everything goes, you don't get anything either, Carissa. So really, you're all in it together. You don't actually have anything.
He's trying to weaponize this, right? Like, he is trying to pull out a weapon snuffer, insert some sort, I don't think that's a thing, but basically being like, no, your weapon does not work. It's like one of those scenes where someone holds up a water gun thinking it's going to stop a fight. Like, it is a situation where Jacob wants to try to find a way to retain a little bit of leverage, and he's got the battle of the wills now officially going on, where it's sort of like, Bishop, what about your will? What does this say? Is this better?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I have a little bit of estate experience because I'm a former funeral director, so dealing with wills and estates and stuff like that was a part of the job. It wasn't a big part of the job, but usually how it works is whatever the last will is the will. That is the will. But because of what was going on with this previous will, and then Daryl may have been murdered, then that would negate whatever the newest will is, obviously. So that's kind of where we are with this whole wills situation. But you have to be able to prove it. And if you can't prove that Daryl was murdered, then this new will, the will that Bishop has, that they have the house, that is going to stand. They need real proof to stop that from being the will that stands. So I'm not as worried about Bishop losing that place and Lady May losing their home, because it's going to be hard to prove that.
I'm about to give you a pun that I am not proud of.
Yes,
I'm going to warn this in advance.
All right, let's have it.
Whenever there's a will, there's a way. Right. And as it turns out, Bishop, he's got the will, he's got the way. As long as nobody has nobody is presenting the proof in the trial that Bishop is a murderer. I don't know why I'm using puns and talking about murder in the same, two sentences here. But I think he's going to be okay, this is by no means absolving Bishop Greenleaf, who has a real laundry list of just like really not great things that he has done. But yeah, with this, who knows where we're going with it?
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation that Bishop had with Jacob. I mean, obviously not everything is out there, but Jacob's not done yet. I mean, this feels like this is going to really be the meat of what Jacob is going to be going through right now. And before we wrap this up, we have to talk about Charity, and we have to talk about that scene with Judy and Phil having dinner, and he's praying and he's rolling his eyes. Phil, man, you are in for a long lifetime if this is already. You can't even get through a prayer. I was dying when she was praying. It was so over the top.
Phil,
that character is too much for me.
Phil has really got some weird Stockholm syndrome, because it's like he's being held hostage, and yet at the
By
same time,
himself.
yeah, it's like he's okay with being held hostage. He's just sort of like, well, I think this is for the best. Phil, think of yourself, man. Have some dignity.
Oh my
Do you
goodness.
want to live with Judy and her look at my ring nonsense for the entire feud? Like, even everything about Judy is very, very irritating. Whether it is the ring, her condescending attitude, the way she's tried to get under Charity's skin. And Charity's made me mad plenty of times. But if I'm choosing between who would I rather hang out with, Charity or Judy, it's no contest. You get Judy out of there.
I love the scenes with Charity and Judy. Judy calling her in to be like, hey, can you check out my ring? Does it look better on me? Kind of feeling. I was just, every time these two are together now, the writing for them is so good. I love that they both, everything is just laid out and they're just taking barbs at each other over and over again. I really am enjoying this. It's probably the most I've enjoyed Charity over this series.
The thing that I could say to the actress who plays Judy, and this is a pretty tough job, because I'm pretty sure if she's on social media, she probably just gets people hating her all the time. But the more they hate you, the better you're doing at your job, because I hate you so much, and I think that's kind of the point.
She's so ridiculous. Like, almost like she's just somebody who doesn't exist. I've never met anybody who acts like this, because she acts like she's fronting all the time. Like, everything is just an act. It's so crazy. Even her prayer, I was just like giggling watching it because it's so ridiculous.
I grew up in the church, at least to some extent. I was not a Greenleaf. I didn't go all the time, but I went here or there, and I'm pretty sure I've seen like a half Judy, like someone who is like part of this. But no, I've never seen someone go full Judy. You don't want to go full Judy, because then you get stuck with this. But yeah, it's a crazy episode. I don't think it's as dramatic in some ways as the first two, but
yeah.
A lot goes on. A lot went down here. We're excited to look at what's coming up. But what did you guys think about Greenleaf Season 5, Episode 3? Be sure to share in the comments. And if you do like this video, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, support us further. Check that link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.